Think about the last time you confronted someone you suspected was lying, and instead of getting the reaction you expected, they stayed completely calm. No stammering, no nervous energy. Just steady eye contact and a tone so even it almost made you feel like the unreasonable one. If you've experienced that, you probably walked away confused. Everything you'd been taught about spotting a liar, shifting eyes, fidgeting, sweating, was nowhere to be found, so your brain did what it usually does when reality doesn't match expectation. It assumed you were wrong, but here's what most people never realize. Calmness isn't evidence of honesty. It never was. It's just the trait we've mistakenly trained ourselves to associate with it. Occasional liars, the ones who lie rarely and feel genuine guilt about it, often do show visible stress because lying conflicts with their self-image. Their nervous system reacts to that internal contradiction. But chronic liars operate under completely different psychological conditions, and understanding why changes the way you read almost every interaction you'll ever have. The first reason comes down to repetition and cognitive load. The first time anyone lies, it requires enormous mental effort, inventing details, tracking consistency, monitoring the listener's reaction, all at once. That effort is what produces visible stress. But for someone who lies frequently, the process becomes rehearsed. The brain treats it less like fabrication and more like retrieval, the same way a well-practiced skill stops feeling effortful over time. The nervous system simply has less to react to, because the threat that produces stress in occasional liars, the fear of internal contradiction, has been dulled through repetition. And it gets even more interesting than that, because there's a deeper psychological shift happening underneath the surface. Many chronic liars don't experience the lie the way you'd expect. Through a process closely related to cognitive dissonance, when someone lies often enough, their mind starts resolving the discomfort not by feeling guilty, but by gradually adjusting their own sense of what's acceptable. The lie stops registering internally as a violation. It starts feeling to them like a normal tool for navigating situations, which means the calm you're seeing isn't a mask hiding guilt. In many cases, there's genuinely very little guilt left to hide. This is where almost everyone gets it wrong. We assume calm means confident, and confident means truthful. But confidence and honesty are separate systems entirely. A chronic liar's calm often comes from something closer to false confidence, a self-assurance that isn't built on being right, but on having successfully avoided consequences before. Every time a lie goes unchallenged, it reinforces the belief that they can do it again. That's not the calm of someone with nothing to hide. That's the calm of someone with a track record of getting away with it. So if calmness itself isn't a reliable signal, what actually is? There are 3 shifts worth understanding. The first is watching for over-smoothness rather than nervousness. Genuine memories, even calmly told, usually contain small natural imperfections. A pause to recall a detail, a minor correction, an acknowledgement of uncertainty. Chronic liars, because they're often reciting a rehearsed version of events, can sound almost too polished, too linear, missing the small hesitations real recollection tends to produce. It's not about catching nervousness. It's about noticing when a story feels edited rather than remembered. The second is testing consistency under a different angle, not under pressure. Increasing emotional pressure just triggers rehearsed responses, since that's exactly the scenario a practiced liar has prepared for. But asking about the same event later, from an unexpected angle, in a completely different conversation, taps into something they haven't scripted. This connects back to cognitive load. Improvisation under a new frame is far harder than repeating a memorized narrative, and that's usually where the small cracks appear.